In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
We're back!
Hey, welcome back. Spinnerack here with your latest round of comic book reviews. Before I go any further, of course, let me introduce Prime Minister Petey, the Prophet. Okay, the man who knows all about comics. And if you think he doesn't, just listen.
Hey everybody, we got some 3 new books that we're ready to review. Not trash. If it's trash, then we have to do what we must. But the plan is to just review and help you guys out.
Okay, so first up to bat is what? New Superman?
The patented Grant Morrison title, New Superman.
Okay. Well, what I'm trying to do, at least with reviews, one thing I've noticed, and we both noticed, is like if you look across the spectrum of comic book reviews tend to be really high. Average comic book reviews, like out of 10, is like about an 8. And I'm not 100% certain, but I think to a certain extent, they try to hit certain numbers, man, saying certain a lot. They try to hit specific points that I guess will please comic readers, and as long as it keeps coming out, no issue. But this is a perfectly good example of that. There's no reason for me to read the next issue on this. It's not horrible, but there's no reason for me to read another issue. And then it really asks me, what was the purpose of this? Is it just so we can have a Chinese Superman with a Japanese name, or with a Japanese and a Korean name? There was just very little here to go on. At least for me. I read the story. There are elements of Spider-Man here. There's some really light elements of Superman, and then of course there's a lot of the 90s superheroes here as well. But the whole foundation is that you can't be superheroes are no longer good people, and they get these powers and they go off and do good things. They have to start off as jerks or fundamentally flawed in some reason. Then they get the powers, and then after they get all of this power, they're not going to become even bigger jerks. No, they're going to become better people. That's a hard premise for me to swallow.
Well, for me, I would say, let me start with the good. And the good, I don't know who the artist is, but the second cover, I kind of like the second cover, where he's holding the reporter girl, the internet girl. I had to look at that second cover was okay. Otherwise, it's a little too tongue-in-cheek, a little too cutesy as far as the dialogue and the captions. The captions it's really trying to say I'm doing something different when I don't think feel it's necessary. Let the story sort of carry the book. But, it's how he gets his powers, the characterization I guess is okay. But that way they jump to giving him his powers and then immediately go to the heat vision. Like, I don't know how many Superboy stories is of him having his heat vision go out of control. Like, I don't know. It's not that many where he's like, I can't control it. I need to learn how to use my heat vision.
They don't want to use strength or freeze breath or that sort of thing, but heat vision is the most destructive power I guess they can think of. So they want to show, okay, well, he has to train to get up to speed, and so heat vision, of course, will go out of control. I mean, they've been doing it since, who is this? Jeff Johns did it in Secret Origin, where Superboy can't control his heat vision, and he sets like this banner on fire, and all the sprinklers go off in the school, and that was lightweight. That was lightweight in comparison to the stuff they do now. Now he'll set a whole field on fire. So I've been seeing this over and over. Who did the cover? I think it was Bernard Chang. Bernard Chang does the variant cover. I mean, but it's a nice cover. But it's the same thing we've been saying about DC. They give you these pretty pictures, and there's nothing behind it. It's an empty-headed. It's like this. It's like a trophy wife or something. It's okay. This is beautiful, but there's no substance here. So it's I'm not going to argue. It's a nice looking cover. I thought the first one was nice looking. The standard cover was nice looking as well. But by the end of this, I'm like, do I really want to read another issue of this? And the answer is no.
The other thing is, it's always, what was it? What's that book that Superman? The Elseworld True Brit, where they sort of played up that Superboy, young, I forget what is it, Kent Clark, couldn't control his heat vision, and his family keeps leaving, trying to move away from him. Like, ever since then, it sort of went south, and it's just like the heat vision. He's got to learn how to use this heat vision. Sort of like, I guess, the effect that Mad Super Duper Man had on Alan Moore. Maybe this True Grit thing just affected comic book writers of Superman for forever, because they just like 2 seconds he gets it, and then heat vision goes off.
It's very lazy writing at the end of the day. It's just very lazy writing. If you want to show that he can't control his heat vision, you can show that in very subtle ways, very nuanced ways. But with them, it's, of course, it's, there has to be this floodgate of heat vision. And so there's really no thought on it. And they're not thinking anymore. And then I also think the readership, after a while, just comes to expect it. Okay, we'll get the heat vision moment where he fries everything. But don't worry, he'll learn to use it later, after he's killed, 5 or 6 people.
And I guess the other problem is a DC problem when you get to the end, and it's the Batman and Wonder Woman of China. And it's a classic de-uniquing of the DC characters, where we have, and I know they have Batman Incorporated, but there's too many. You can't have a Green Arrow core of every character. You can't have 3 million Batman. You can't have, you have a multiverse. Like, how many more within the same universe is he gonna have a Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman? Because these characters that you come up with are pretty lame. It just has that image feel. It's just like, it's close to Batman, so we're just gonna sort of play off of those things and give you something slightly different. So the Justice League of China, I'm not looking forward to. So even if it was passable, once it got to that, I don't need to read any more of this book.
I would be more interested in this if they decided to make heroes that were analogs of Batman and Wonder Woman, but they really tried to affix them to things that were Chinese, to maybe Chinese legends or, Chinese myths. Instead, it's just, okay, I would hate to think, okay, if we're in Africa, it's going to be the Batman and Wonder Woman of Africa, the Batman and Wonder Woman of Australia. It's like, you can't come up with anything new. Batman as a character is not new. He was based on other types of characters, and Superman is not new. Same for Wonder Woman, the fighting woman. There are plenty of characters that you could base off of this. If they had gone as far as to say Wonder Woman was more like Fa Mulan, who was this legendary woman who was based for this Disney film, I'd be a little bit more interested in seeing something of that come to life. But this just, again, it's hitting all the same notes, all the same marks, and I just believe they think readers want this. But again, these books keep getting rated so high. And readers don't say, they don't close the book and say, I'm not coming back. They come back and they'll read at least 5-6 issues, and they're still coming back, almost buying robotically. But it's just, I don't really want to read another issue. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
So are we rating this?
Yes. So what we giving this? What we doing? Scale of 10?
So we're going 5.
Okay, scale of 5. So on a scale of 1 to 5, this was a 2 for me. Nice big 2.
I would go 1.5. Okay, sort of set up, too quick to give this guy any powers, and then it ended so terribly, I don't want to come back.